Viewers, we begin with our big story, which is that more than 50 drugs, 53 in number in fact, including basic drugs, everyday use drugs, such as calcium and vitamin D3 supplements, anti-diabetes pills, high blood pressure medications, have failed quality tests by India's drug regulator. In its monthly drug alert list, the Central Drug Standards Control Organization, or CDSCO, has declared 53 drugs as not being of standard quality and has issued such an NSQ alert. Now, the NSQ alerts are generated from random monthly sampling conducted by the state drug officers. Vitamin C and D3 tablets, Shelcal, vitamin B complex and C soft gels, antacid Pan-D, paracetamol tablets, anti-diabetes drug, glimepiride, high blood pressure drug, telmisartan, and many others are among the 53 top-selling drugs that have failed the quality check by the drug regulator. This is extremely concerning. We have Akanksha joining us to tell us more. Akanksha, if you can take us through what the findings of the drug regulator are and what is the kind of test that is applied, how often is it done? Tell us more.
That's right, Ankit. More than 50 drugs are sold in the market, and mind you, these are the top-selling drugs that you and I possibly take to treat several things. They have, in fact, failed the drug test, and this has come out in the monthly report by the drug regulator. Drug regulator carries out random sampling and testing of different top-selling drugs every month and comes out with a report. Now, in that report, it has come out that several top-selling medicines used to treat acid reflux, erectile dysfunction, high blood pressure, antibiotics, they have failed the test, and this includes pantoacid tablet that is used to treat acid reflux, calcium tablet, Shelcal, as you also mentioned, pulmosil injection that is used to commonly treat blood pressure, and also clamvam that is a commonly used antibiotic. All of these have failed the test. Now, the companies are saying that this batch that has failed the test in different parts of the country is not manufactured by them. CDSCO, that is the drug regulator, on their part has said that this is a matter of investigation, and also going on to add that just because a batch of drugs has failed does not mean that the entire lot that is produced by the company is will fail the drug test. So there is absolutely nothing to worry about, but definitely very concerning that all these medicines that are manufactured by the country, few of them, a batch of them has failed the test, and these are, again I'm mentioning, top selling medicines that are used to treat erectile dysfunction, acid reflux, also a top selling antibiotic as well. But the companies are saying that it is not manufactured by them, but drug regulator will now carry out the investigation to find out whether or not it is manufactured by them or this is a spurious drug.
Well, Akanksha, do stay with us. Let's actually find out how concerned we should be. Now, Dr. Ishwar Gilada, infectious diseases expert, is with us. Sir, if we can get, first of all, your response to this report and these alerts on these 53 drugs. What is, as a medical professional, as an infectious diseases expert, what is your first reaction to hearing this information?
See, this is a very serious matter. Particularly when it comes to medicines which are very popularly used. Almost 70–80% of the medicines are antibiotics, vitamins, paracetamol, vitamin D3, vitamin C. If these are failing, particularly what we read is also they are from very prominent companies. Usually we have known that the medicines from the Bombay market, the so-called Bombay market, is generic. There is no brand name on the medicine. They usually have a poor quality. There are two ways of failing. One is impurity, which is allowed up to 4%. And second thing is a spurious medicine. Like you are expecting one medicine and inside there is another medicine. I think the second category is very bad, because often we expect some particular result of some infection. For example, if there is an infection because of some either gram-positive or gram-negative organism, we give a particular antibiotic, and within 4 or 5 days patient settle. Now, if the patient doesn't settle, we try another antibiotic or we do culture and sensitivity test. Now, in such situation where medicines are failing, I think is a very serious matter. That is number one. Number two, in this country, up till recently, there were two different ministries looking after medicines. One was a chemical and fertilizer ministry, which was in charge of the industries for any content of the medicine. And health ministry, which is CDSCO, that is Central Drug Control Organization. Now, for the first time, they realize, and there's a wisdom, that both the ministries are under one person, and Mr. J.P. Nadda is a minister now.
All right.
So it becomes easy to handle. Now the problem is CDSCO, they make a standard of particular medicine, and the implementation is with the State Drug Food and Drug Control Department. State FDA means Food and Drug Control, and their major force is sent for food control, not drug control. So they have always a perennial shortage of manpower, very qualified drug inspectors, and most of the drug inspectors are in corrupt practices because they are dealing with food, and food is required by everybody. So I think in this situation, when there are drugs are failing from popular companies and popular brands, popular contents, very serious matter. It is like a monkey trick that our monkey goes 10 feet above and goes 5 feet below. Now India is already a drug and pharma capital of the world. At such a situation, at such a juncture, if our medicines are failing, it's a very pathetic situation. The government should act with
iron. Terrible, and I'm glad you raised the fact that India is a drug manufacturing powerhouse. We are drug makers for the world, which was very apparent during the COVID pandemic. So much of the vaccine output was produced by India. And Dr. Gilada, but what we also want to know is how harmful could these, whether they're spurious or just simply not of the required quality, how harmful could it be? And we're also opening our phone lines for you viewers. But Dr. Gilada, a lot of these drugs are simple supplements. I mean, they may be vitamin supplements, calcium supplements that you may take every day, not essentially prescribed drugs. How bad could it get? Could they be harmful, or could they simply be ineffective? What is the sort of range that anyone who takes these spurious drugs can expect? How bad of an impact could it have?
See, CDSCO should come out with a clear statement, whether it is failing because of content, which is having some 4 or 5% impurity, and whether there is something else which is spurious. The second category is not accepted at all. If contained by, say, paracetamol tablet, 4% is impurity, then we can take 550 milligram more, it doesn't harm. But if you are taking a medicine which has something else than what is prescribed, that is very harmful. We do not know what is that, whether that is just a chemical or whether that is just some kind of calcium oxalate. We do not know that. And therefore, till we know, and everybody, including doctors, they are not supposed to know what is content of the medicine.
Right.
It is to be done by an analytical laboratory, which is under the governance of CDSCO. So every individual consuming medicine, every doctor prescribing medicine, they will not know what is content. We just write a particular name of the medicine with brand name and in bracket content, what it contains, and how many milligram we should prescribe. If some company is not putting that particular milligram in that particular content in that, then that is responsibility of that company, and those companies should be penalized. I'm of the opinion that government should act with an iron hand. No one should be spared.
No, there can be no tolerance for this kind of spurious drug making. And we've seen, like you mentioned, a lot of our drugs that are exported, for example, there have been horrific incidences where, say, in African countries, there are people who have had adverse ill effects of spurious drugs because they took these drugs. Now, what are the defenses that these drug makers often give? We've heard a couple of them. Someone says that these are not made by us. Someone says that this is just a batch. It doesn't mean that the entire pool is contaminated or ineffective. Do you think any of these defenses are at all worthy? Do they hold up to any kind of scrutiny?
No, I think we should not take any of the defenses on face value. We should go by analytical way. Anybody would say that no, it happened for the first time. At least as a doctor working in this country for 43 years, I am hearing such a large list for the first time. Taking the names of very big companies and taking the medicines which are commonly consumed by each and every person. So under this situation, no one should go by face value. No one should go by what company is saying. We are supposed to have a GMP, that is global manufacturing practice, and good manufacturing practice. If GMP is not followed, that company is not acceptable.
Right, Dr. Gilada. Now do stay with us. We have a caller, R.K. Menon, I am told, is joining us, I believe from Chennai. Mr. Menon, what is your take on these reports of spurious drugs and ineffective drugs and adulterated drugs, etc.? What do you have to say?
I think it is very sad, because it is not just the common people who are getting affected. Even the people who stay in the slums, they also get into all these problems, because they are looking at cheaper drugs. They are also looking at cheaper medical care. And just imagine what could happen to them. Now we are talking about Tirupati. Now Tirupati is only the tip of the iceberg. Now we need to have standards for everything. Everything.
Right.
And unless these standards are there on the drug, they should never be allowed to market it.
Absolutely, and it's a very interesting point also. You have drawn a comparison also with the overwhelming story doing the rounds right now, which is on the adulteration of ghee possibly. Thank you, Mr. Menon, for joining us. We have also another caller, Bob from Meghalaya is joining us. Bob, if we can have your take on this, on these spurious drugs being sold allegedly in the Indian market, being manufactured perhaps in bulk. What do you have to say?
I have to say is that I am taking this, D3, and I was not seeing any effect. So I was wondering what was wrong, whether I was going weak. And then I was taking this vitamin E. So I was not getting any effects on my body. I crossed a critical illness, and for that I had to take this compulsory. I have to take the calcium tablets. So right now the mind is puzzled. Where shall I go? What shall I do? Whom shall I talk to? Vitamin B complex I had to take, but I started feeling there was no effects.
Right.
So now, so the thing is, right now we come from, we are in the Northeast, and we are so dependent upon the markings on the packets, the whole system. Now, if this is the case, then where shall we go? Do we buy expensive versions of the medicine which seem to work? In fact, we were just discussing, okay, that DPT injection for the kid was about 10,000 rupees, and they have to go out and take it. So vitamin C, solvents, I'm taking it. I have to take it. If I don't take it, then after a few days, I suffer very badly. But
right.
Then
I mean, that is an active issue. We have still Dr. Gilada with us, and we have a couple of more callers. But very quick, if I can get a response from Dr. Gilada on what Bob has said. And we'll actually take a couple of more callers, and then we'll take the questions together. But Bob, thank you for speaking to us and raising this. He personally takes one of these medicines. We also have Ravi Shankar, who is joining us from Bengaluru. Ravi Shankar, what is your particular concern and when you hear of this news and these reports? Well, we'll try and get Ravi Shankar back with us. In the meantime, we also have another caller from Bengaluru. Sarvanan is joining us. Sarvanan, if you've been listening, same question goes to you. What's your take on this?
See, I'm feeling very disgusting and disappointed with the way, this message is coming. So I'm a diabetic from past 11, 12 years, and I'm using this tablet, Glimepiride, 50 mg. And I am also experiencing some kind of, allergy and stomach upset, or even some kind of sensitivity. So I just want to know what is happening, why the government of India is not taking any action, and why no standards, no control has been placed. And even I have witnessed in some of the, most of the pharmaceuticals and drugs company, this drug control, what he does, whenever he comes for inspection, he comes with a bag and he carries a lot of money with him. He is not doing his job.
Something, Sarvanan, that's something that even Dr. Gilada was mentioning, that there is an element perhaps of something not really being correct with the process. I thank you for sharing these views with us, Sarvanan. We also